Hey guys, Dantix here. Remember Artifact? No? Really? You don't remember Valve's biggest failure? Well, the card game based off the extremely popular Dota 2 launched, to nobody's surprise, directly into the gutter. Well, it turns out Valve isn't done with the game, not yet. According to a recent blog post, there may be life for the MOBA-based card game yet. Artifact launched in 2018 and quickly dropped down into the double digits of Twitch viewers within a few weeks. It had a host of problems which I talk about well before the release, as you can see in the video here. But I'll summarize. It was hard to watch, it was hard to get started, it was hard to understand at a glance, it was imbalanced, mostly unrewarding and unappealing to most, and it lacked any form of marketing to speak of. And I wasn't just some bystander watching this game fail. I was in the alpha, one of the many that begged for changes that never came. Not only was I in the alpha, well, take a guess who this handsome fellow is.
It's Dan. No. Dan! Oh my, that is a thing. But you know where he comes from? He's from Australia.
Australia? Dan, what are you doing here? That's fantastic. Suns fan, a very rare defeat here by Dan from Down Under. Well done, sir. Yeah, right here.
Alright, once you've wiped the bonus sweat from your brow, you realize that I had invested interest in seeing this game succeed, and if you strip away all of its failures, it was actually pretty damn fun to play. So Artifact is, in essence, a card game, however it was more than that. It's a strategy game more akin to chess, and it highly rewarded intelligence and skill. Like its MOBA counterpart, you have 3 lanes. You play a card, then your opponent does, until you both pass and the lane plays out. When one person dominates 2 lanes or dominates 1 lane twice, they win. It's a lot more involved and it has a lot of really creative interactions, but that's the gist. So the Artifact Twitter has been unbelievably inactive since release. In fact, it was a point of discussion among its few fans that Valve was painfully absent PR-wise, to the point no one knew what the future held for the game, which made more and more people jump ship. The last post on Twitter was a year ago, a whole year, that is, until now. So let's get into it. What's the plan? Beta 2.0. This week we want to talk about the Artifact Beta 2.0, what it will include, and when it will happen. We've been focused on gameplay changes first. The biggest change is zooming out to allow players to access all 3 lanes at once. The majority of effects still work on individual lanes, so they still maintain their identity, but it's less likely that a player will get shut out in the same way they used to. So I'm glad they realized that the gameplay needs to be updated. I'm not sure that being able to play in all lanes at once is the right way to do things though, as it was already hard enough for people to keep track of all the things going on. What needs to change is the randomness of creeps and items that spawn, for example, and the balance of some of the cards, well, most of the cards. Adding some more flavor to each individual one would also be needed. However, this is one of the changes suggested, and I'm happy to wait to see how they implement it in a way that makes the game spectator friendly. One of the things that Hearthstone does so incredibly well. Moving on, we've focused on making the game easier to pick up. We aren't selling cards, so you won't face an opponent with a stacked deck. We've also added a new draft mode, New Hero Draft, that gives you a taste of constructing decks without all the pressure. So the fact you needed to pay real money for decks or to draft was a horrible decision in the end, mostly because the game was so damn imbalanced. There were a few hero cards that were just flat out better than others, and since the cards you start with were awful, you quickly found yourself being beaten by someone you should have won against. And that wasn't fun. It also meant playing the game gave you no reward since there was no way to earn more cards. You could also visit the marketplace wherein you can buy and sell cards. However, since the whole imbalance thing existed, the cards you actually needed were so ridiculously overinflated, and the cards you wanted to sell would net you next to nothing, if anything at all. This was all on a game that wasn't free to play. You had to buy it. Now though, they're suggesting you can earn cards through playing the game. This is a fantastic way to encourage logging in, and players without buckets of cash won't get bored. Moving on, the beta will exist as a new executable and access will be granted to individual accounts. When we're ready to send out invites, we'll let you know the process. Here's the current roadmap. Testing boring stuff, we are here. trickle out invites starting with players of the original release, ramping up some to Dota 2. Work on the beta, eventually transitioning into an open beta. Leave the beta, hopefully quicker than Dota 2. So those still playing the original game, firstly, why? Secondly, they can continue to play it without disruption. The new client will be tested in beta format, and those who have previously purchased the game will be randomly chosen to join said test. They're currently at stage 1 where they test boring stuff. Stage 2 will be when we start to hear and see more. They reference Dota 2 a lot as a joke, but honestly guys, you need to do something better than that. You need to wow people and actually market your title, or it'll be the same situation all over again. I know that Valve doesn't like marketing their games, but not every game can be Half-Life Alyx, which doesn't need it. Alright, so the FAQs. I didn't play the original. If I buy the original game now, will I be able to get in? The answer is no. We will prioritize people who have purchased before today's date. So, question, I played the original. Will I have access to my stats, cards, decks, etc. from the original game? The answer is, in the new version, cards are unlocked through play. Individual cards are likely to have been changed, removed, or brand new, so old decks and stats won't be valid. So this suggests that cards are being completely removed, reworked, or changed. This also means forget about the cards you purchased or earned, considering them gone. They're starting fresh with a blank slate, and although that might suck for the 3 people who still play Artifact, the rest of us will be hopefully treated to a more balanced and enjoyable title. Question, can I buy cards packs in the beta? Answer, we have some ideas about what we'd like to sell, but none of them are cards/packs. So they're moving into a more Dota 2 model, and I hope this means free to play with cosmetics as the way to bring in revenue. Valve have the money. They've been milking developers for decades. I think the only way to actually get the numbers required to make something like this work is to make it available to as many people as possible. Question, I'm a member of the press, a celebrity, a streamer, an influencer, a pro gamer, etc. Can I get in? Answer, selection will be mostly random, so maybe. Basically, this means a handful of hand-picked marketing-related influencers will be let in, and mostly people will be random. So if you don't get access, you're just unlucky. So that's it for the post, and knowing Valve, I don't know when else we'll get any information. It might be another year from now. I really don't know how to feel. I was burnt out with this game before, and I really don't want to sink hundreds of more hours into it for them to completely ignore their fans and put out something inevitably that fails. It's Valve though, so hopefully they've learned from their biggest failure and turned it into their biggest success. I'm not holding my breath though. Thanks for watching guys. I appreciate the support and I would love to hear your thoughts. Keep your eyes on /Dantix for more as it comes. Until next time friends, bye.